Those who travel to the estate often leave as shells of their former self. The atrocities of the manor shake them to their very core, hollowing out their humanity and turning them closer to ghosts than people. The same can't be said for those who are already shadows of their former selves. For them, the estate is just another hunting ground, a place to perform even more grisly deeds and to add more notches to their already impressive body count. The Wraith might seem closer to undead, but he is still human. There was once a proud and noble man beneath that visage, a man named Ren. How he turned into a cold, emotionless assassin is a tale as old as time, a tale of love, heartbreak, betrayal, and vengeance. This is the story of the teacher and the student. We turn our eyes to the east again, to the land of the rising sun. The shoguns of this mighty empire were preparing for war. The next generation of warriors were being trained by the older generation, those who have earned their place in honor. Many were harsh and unforgiving with their pupils, but there was talk of one, a teacher who showed compassion for his students. He taught them through kindness rather than cruelty. This kind teacher became the very topic of conversation and secrets, rumors of a relationship between the teacher and the student. No one knew who the student was, only that he arrived one day to train under the teacher. Some claimed he was a skilled swordsman, while others would speak of his inexperience. As time went by, the teacher would spend more and more time with the student and neglect his other disciples. Then, there was talk of seeing the two under a blossom tree, sharing a kiss. I wish I could say the story ends here, but not in this world. For behind those eyes of love and affection laid the harsh knife of betrayal. The night was quiet, as the teacher and his pupils were slaughtered by the student. The teacher found him surrounded by the corpses of his peers. They claimed that perhaps the student was actually an assassin sent to sabotage the shogun's plans. As the student engaged the teacher in combat, their battle became a dark parallel to their once light-hearted training. Just as the teacher gained the upper hand, his resolve faltered. Perhaps his heart could not allow him to kill the one he loved. And in that moment, the student plunged his sword through that heart. His hesitation led to his failure, and so he was declared a shameful warrior, his name tarnished and forgotten. The student disappeared afterwards. To where? No one knows. But what happened next is only spoken in the darkest corners. The teacher did not die. The sword meant for his heart had actually missed. He threw himself at the feet of the shoguns and begged for their forgiveness. They heard his plea, but the warlords aren't so easy to forgive. They decreed that with his second life, he will collect the souls for the shoguns. 666 souls in exchange for a pardon. And only when this impossible deed is done will his name be redeemed. So ends the story of the teacher, and the beginning of the Wraith. A man betrayed who rose from the dead as a heartless killer, acting as the personal assassin for his masters. In the past decade, he spent his nights as a brutal and efficient hunter. Because of how much time he has spent traveling, he has sacrificed his more traditional and heavier armor for lighter but more maneuverable attire, which coordinates well with his weapon of choice. Wielding a more intricate weapon than his sword, many have fallen to his chains and blades, ensnaring and stunning his victims in chains before dealing a fatal blow. He is not an agile fighter, however. Rather, he is patient and waits for the perfect opportunity to strike. The weapon and appearance weren't the only change. His outlook on life has been completely altered. Gone is the kind and compassionate teacher. The Wraith is cold and ruthless, jaded from years of slaughter. He works best in darkness, becoming the very shadows the creatures of the estate thrive on. In a strange way, he's almost the monster to the monsters, something that hunts and kills them in their own territory. Some parts of his former self leak through his mask. He may occasionally mention the student and the night of his betrayal, revealing his sadness and loss of the one he thought he loved. It's unknown what his intentions are for traveling to the estate. It could be for his own pursuit for more souls, or perhaps the shoguns have rescinded their offer and have placed a bounty on his head. They could have even taken it a step further and sent assassins after the Wraith, to ensure he fails in his task and dies as a failure. The Wraith is nothing more than his name implies, a vengeful and hateful spirit looking to kill. Even if he were to fulfill his bargain with the shoguns, I doubt he'd simply return to his old life. The path he chose is one where there is no turning back, no washing away the blood spilled or the lives taken. Stories like these don't get to have a happy ending. They only end sad, bloody, or both. If there is any hope in this tragedy, it is the hope that their struggles, their triumphs, and their failures teach others. Pass along the knowledge to another generation that they might learn from his story.